I genuinely didn't think I had hauled that many physical books in the past couple of months. I thought I had largely stuck with ebooks and audios, but apparently I was wrong. So it's time for a book haul video so that I can get these actually somewhere off the floor and onto my shelves. The easiest way to divvy these up is probably to do middle grade YA and adult. So I'm just gonna start at the beginning and we'll work our way through. I picked up Janice Hallett's new middle grade, A Box Full of Murder. I really enjoyed Hallett's other mysteries. I really enjoy her writing style in her adult books. She delivers them through mixed media and a found footage style of story. I really enjoy just immersing myself in the world. I don't try and solve them. So far, I don't think I've ever figured out all the details, but I always have a really fun ride with them. Middle grade, I'm not sure how I'm going to feel about that, but I'll be reading this for the Plot Luck podcast at some point next year. So I wanted to have my own physical copy. Mixed media, I've tried to read as ebooks and they just don't work for me. And I don't think I would enjoy it as an audio either. So when I saw the physical copy, I decided to buy it and I'm going to set it aside. Then, because I was in the mood for some spooky middle grade, and I've really not been reading a lot of middle grade lately to have my eye on anything or be aware of what my options were, I went on Blue Sky and asked for some recommendations. And the book that I picked up was The Last Chance Hotel by Nikki Thornton. This looks like it's going to be a perfect spooky Halloween, end of the year, darker nights type of middle grade. And the description on the back breaks it down into magical murder and mystery, which all three of those things just seem perfectly up my alley. Then some more secondhand purchases. I got 4 books in the Babysitters Club mystery series. These were Dawn Schaefer, Undercover Babysitter, Claudia and the Mystery at the Museum, Stacy and the Missing Ring, and Babysitters Beware. I really loved the Babysitters Club when I was little, but I didn't actually know that they had a specific mystery offshoot, which if I had known, I would have absolutely decimated. So I'm going to keep my eye out for more of these books if they're available. There does seem to be a lot to pick from. It's just a case of stumbling across them. But my very loose plan is to keep hold of them and read them in a week or a couple of weeks during in April when I'm looking for some of that real 90s nostalgia. I only have a couple of YAs, but the first is a modern classic, I guess. It is the 20th anniversary of Twilight coming out, and I've never read Twilight, and I think I maybe want to change that. I thought it would be a fun project, and I assumed that I'd be able to get a copy through my library or through Everand because, I mean, those books are everywhere, right? My library didn't have any. None, not a single copy. So I had to spend my own human money on this copy of Twilight. So, I mean, fingers crossed. I know very, very little about Twilight. I've seen some clips, but it's such a cultural moment that I feel like this could be fun just to see what it was all about. Then I bought myself a copy of L.C. Rosen's newest release. This is You've Got My Heart. It's a contemporary YA romance set in Salem at Halloween. We have a haunted house decorating competition and we have a mysterious hidden identities romance between 2 teenagers via text message. I actually already read this one in October and I had a good time with it. I will link the vlog where I read this in the description below. This is In Case You Read This by Edward Underhill. I read Almost the Always by Underhill and I really enjoyed it. This is about 2 trans boys who are both travelling to new towns to restart their lives, to get fresh starts. They bump into each other at a motel and they have an almost instant connection, but then obviously they have to go their separate ways. So this is going to be a book about potentially missed connections, about shared connections, and about reinventing yourself. I don't really request physical arcs anymore because it just feels like it's a bit too much pressure on top of the towering NetGalley shelf. But I am on O'Brien Press's mailing list and they sent me out this 3rd book in the Paranormal Investigations Ireland series by Amy Clarkin. This one is called Where Shadows Lie and it'll be the 3rd book in the series that I've read. I really enjoy these books. They very much are doing a contemporary version of Ghostbusters. And I've always enjoyed the level of creepiness that Clarkin manages to get into the books, while also really enjoying the character dynamics the team has with each other. This one is set aboard a cruise ship and it feels like it could again be a standalone. So if you're interested in it, I don't actually think you would have had to read the previous two books, but there is a previously on. And honestly, I think this is something that all books should include because that's what I need. I have no memory for books when it comes to a sequel, and having just a one page what happened in the past couple of books is going to make this so much easier to get back into. I think it should be standard, as well as the impeccably creepy vibes and the fantastic found family. There's also quite a lot of representation in the characters. For adult hardbacks, I bought another couple of books that I'm going to need for various Plotluck book clubs. The first is Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I was probably going to read this anyway. I really love The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, but I don't really enjoy usually books about celebrities or musicians or that kind of thing. So Taylor Jenkins Reid and I love the one book I have read, but I haven't read any others. This one is about women in NASA in the 60s. Then I think Hemlock and Silver by T. Kingfisher is probably going to be our February book, but I bought it now because I had pre-ordered T. Kingfisher already. I usually end up pre-ordering T. Kingfisher books as a standard. I love her writing, especially when she does these darker fantasies. And I'm particularly interested in this one because it has that fairy tale retelling vibe. This is T. Kingfisher's look at Snow White. Then, sticking with some more chunky books, this is A Beautiful Lie by B. Fitzgerald. B. Fitzgerald has been writing Greek mythology retellings for the past couple of years. First was Girl, Goddess, Queen, which I absolutely loved, which was a Persephone and Hades retelling. And then she done The End Crowns All, The Crown Ends All, a Sapphic Cassandra and Helen of Troy. And then this is now her take on Pandora. I really enjoy her writing style. She really lucks out on the physical books that are produced for her series. They all have those stunning covers and then they all have these gorgeous hardback in this more kind of painting style. And then they all have something on the end papers as well. They're just really, really beautiful editions that I want to keep. I might also buy an ebook of this because they are quite chunky and I might want something I can hold more easily in my hand when I'm reading. Then we have the new Trisha Levenseller, What Fury Brings. Trisha Levenseller is one that slowly snuck up on me. She originally wrote that Daughter of a Pirate King. I tried it and DNF'd it early on. She then wrote a political fantasy, The Shadows Between Us and The Darkness Within Us, which both had really practical, really pragmatic, really ruthless and determined to succeed female characters, and I adored both the books in that duology. Those were YA, I think, and this is adult. But I think it is also going to go down that route of having the really strong, really uncompromising female characters that could be really interesting. It was loosely pitched as being a sort of gender flip on that trope of the barbarian king stealing a bride. Levenseller has been really upfront that she's not trying to do this in a sort of go girl power way, and that although it's feminist and full of female rage, I do think she's going to look at those tropes in a really interesting way. I think she's going to turn some things on her head. So I think this could end up being something I really enjoy. I haven't been looking at the Goodreads reviews for it because it does sound like it might end up being love or hate or a little bit controversial, and I don't want a bad review or a bad rating to skew my own enjoyment of it. Honestly, I have no excuse for this one. I saw this talked about on Books and Lala's channel a while ago. It sounds so interesting. It sounds like it would be absolute hot garbage, but I'm really intrigued. And Kayla's review did say that it had a bit more nuance than you would think. This is about Linda, who is in love with an aeroplane and plans to marry it. I know nothing else about the actual plot, but I think it's going to be something unusual for me, really different to my usual type of book. Crafting for Sinners by Jenny Keither is one I picked up for all of my Halloween and spooky reading. This is basically Die Hard, but with a queer woman set in a craft shop, and the people she's going up against are a religious cult determined to sacrifice her to protect the rest of the world from evil. It's great fun. Cancer Eats the Heart by Paul Jessup is another new release. We focus on Nyx, who is living in a very, very small town called Dark River, which sounds suitably creepy, and she is struggling to survive with multiple sclerosis when a mysterious adolescent young vampire turns up on her doorstep. And Nyx has to decide what the cost and what the price of immortality is worth and whether she wants to take that. I think this is going to be a really good one. I'm really excited to get to it. The Damnedest Thing by Hannah Rebecca Grave is a novella. It is about two vampires. We're not doing that initial human turned into vampires. We are doing vampires who have been around the block. They have been alive for centuries and have settled into their ways. When some dark secrets come to light, the two odd couple, opposite personality vampires have to go on a road trip together. And I think this just sounds like it would be a lot of fun. I love road trip stories, and having this be a supernaturally gothic road trip just seems like it's combining two of my very favourite things. Alison Cochrane is an auto-buy author for me, and I don't think I've ever been disappointed in one of her books. Every step she takes is about 35-year-old Sadie. She is off on a trip of a lifetime to Portugal, and on the flight she confesses all of her secrets about all of her sexuality confusion, all of her disillusionment with her career, to her seatmate Mal. And then when they get to Portugal, she finds out Mal is on the same tour that she is on. This sounds like a really good time. I read a similar book, or I started reading a similar book by Casey McQuiston over the summer, and I ended up DNFing. So I'm really hoping that Alison Cochrane is going to give me something that gets that right. So these are all the physical books that I've bought in the last couple of months. Let me know if there's any here that you are particularly interested in, or if there's any of these that you have already read. Let me know what you thought of them. If none of these are of interest to you, let me know the last book that you did read. Thank you so much for watching. I always really appreciate if you're able to like the video, and if you're interested in further content from me, a subscription is always really appreciated too. I really hope that I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.